My sister was born proud and unyielding. During the famine, a kind benefactor gave us a bowl of rice porridge. My sister snatched it and smashed it on the ground. She righteously declared that even though our family was poor, we would not accept food given out of pity. Our mother saved food for us and starved to death. In order to survive, we entered the prince's residence as maidservants. My sister sold off our mother's keepsakes and bought herself new clothes. She pointed at me and said, "What have I always taught you? No matter when, you must dress neatly. Always keep yourself presentable." The housekeeper praised her for her integrity and let her go to the study to grind ink. As for me, I went to the river to do the laundry. In the end, the young master took a liking to me and wanted to take me as his concubine. After my sister found out, her face changed and she said, "How could you degrade yourself like this? Eagerly offering yourself to be a concubine." The young master said he found her interesting and decided to take her instead. She shyly agreed, insisting it was true love between them. I worked every day and fell seriously ill. I begged my sister to get the doctor. She simply said, "You need to be someone with backbone. You can't ask for help so easily. Even if you have to crawl, you should crawl to the clinic yourself. Don't ruin my reputation." I died on the way crawling to the clinic. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the start, entering the prince's residence. That day, the housekeeper was assigning us chores. My sister wore an azure pleated horse-face skirt, and it was made of silk. She stood out among all the maids. Everyone turned to look at her, but she held her head high, grabbed my dusty old dress, and said, "Yilo, what do I always teach you? No matter when, you must dress neatly. Always keep yourself presentable." The housekeeper was drawn to her. "You are a well-mannered maid," she said. "When I was young, my teacher taught me that no matter how hard life gets, I should always take care of myself. That is someone with true integrity. Go serve in the study." The housekeeper turned to look at me. My sister was clean and tidy, but I was grimy and disheveled. Just looking at me made her feel dirtied. "Send her to the laundry," she said. Just like in my previous life, my sister landed the best job for herself, while dragging me along to thank the housekeeper. She gave it a nice name, saying chores were merely a means to make a living. Good or bad, it's all the same. But the laundry work was not only hard and tiring. The servant in charge was also a pervert. The last time, the moment I entered the laundry, Uncle Zhang set his eyes on me. His greedy gaze lingered on me. Even though he was already over 50, he wanted me to serve him in bed. Of course I refused, which made him angry. So he gave me the dirtiest and heaviest chores. Every day I washed endless piles of clothes, working from dawn till night. My hands became sore and swollen from soaking. While my sister ground ink and held a writing brush with her delicate hands, her skin was soft and glowing. One night, just as I finished the laundry and was about to leave, suddenly someone grabbed my sleeve tightly and dragged me toward the small woods nearby. Uncle Zhang pressed me down, holding me tightly, and tried to undress me. I struggled desperately, but he slapped me hard. "No one will come, no matter how much you scream," he snarled. Fortunately, the young master happened to pass by that day and heard my cries. He saved me from Uncle Zhang. At that time, my clothes were in disarray. My eyes were red and swollen. The young master said I looked like a frightened little bunny and found it adorable. He wanted to take me as his concubine, but I wasn't able to escape the laundry. Instead, I felt a burst of happiness. My sister went to see the young master at night to confront me, frowning and saying, "Yiluo, how could you stoop so low, eagerly offering yourself as a concubine? Didn't we promise to seek a lifelong love together?" Though she asked me, she never listened to my explanation. Instead, she started crying with red, teary eyes. "How can someone as upright as me have a little sister like you, so shameless? How can someone as upright as me have a little sister like you, Yanyan Biu?" She spoke as she wept, her collar unusually low that day, revealing a deep cleavage. her chest trembling as she sobbed. The young master outside even held his breath watching. By coincidence, her thin garment was suddenly caught on a nail in the wall. She tried to free it, but instead of pulling it loose, she tore her clothes apart, revealing her flawless jade-like body. The young master walked up to her, and she blushed, tears pooling in her eyes. But she still offered her respects to the young master half naked. The young master became interested in her, saying she was amusing, while staring at her body. That night, my sister became his special companion. He promoted her as a concubine, while I was sent back to the laundry. I asked my sister in confusion, "Didn't you say you didn't want to be a concubine?" Her face was flushed, still glowing after becoming his woman, adjusting the hairpin at her temples. "You don't understand," she said. "The young master truly likes me. That's why he keeps me close. There is real love between us." When Uncle Zhang saw I had been sent back, he had hesitated before, now that my sister was a concubine, and didn't torment me like before. But then my sister came to the laundry and told me right in front of Uncle Zhang, "Yiluo, a person has to be independent and strong. Now that I'm half a mistress, you're still just a servant, so your future is up to you. Don't expect your sister to help you." Once she said this, everyone in the prince's residence praised her for her character. But once Uncle Zhang saw her drawing a line with me, he became even worse, abusing me and forcing me to serve him. My sister only said coldly, "That's your fate." Luckily, the heir found out about it and killed Uncle Zhang, finally freeing me from that nightmare. But my hands became ulcerated, and I fell seriously ill. With a high fever that never subsided, I asked someone to inform my sister, begging her to call the doctor for me. But my sister never showed up, only sent someone with a message, saying, "You should be someone with backbone. You shouldn't ask for help so easily. Even if you have to crawl, do it yourself to get to the clinic." In order to survive, I used a wooden stick to drag myself to the clinic. But halfway through, I was too weak and collapsed heavily on the ground. Struggling, I crawled step by step toward the clinic.
In my days, I seemed to see my mother.
During the famine, even with money, we couldn't buy food. Mother saved her food and gave it all to my sister and me. A kind person saw my mother nearly starving to death and gave her a bowl of porridge. I kowtowed in thanks, carefully feeding my mother the porridge, afraid to spill a single grain. But my sister saw this, snatched it away from me, and smashed the bowl hard against the ground. She said solemnly, "Our teacher always said, we must never eat food given out of pity. Our family would rather starve than accept others' charity." Many beggars rushed to lick the rice off the ground. Mother watched helplessly as she finally starved to death. And once again, I died on the way to the clinic. This time, my sister used the same trick and sent me to the laundry again. He hurried me. "How can you be so rude? Why haven't you thanked Nanny yet?" Suddenly, I grabbed him by the throat. I rushed over and pressed him against the wall. "Yuan Yilong, what are you doing?" He couldn't breathe. He screamed shrilly. I yanked his hair. I slammed his head hard against the wall. His forehead started bleeding. He couldn't keep it together now. He screamed hoarsely, "Yuan Yunyo, let go of me." At this moment, Nanny finally reacted. "Why are you all just standing there? Hurry and pull him away. Yunyo, even if you want Nanny to assign you to the dressing room, you shouldn't take it out on me. How can there be such a vulgar maid? She can't stay in the prince's mansion. Send her off to be sold as soon as possible." Just as Nanny was about to take me back to the broker, the heir suddenly walked over. The heir stopped right in front of me. "Are you planning to sell this maid?" In my past life, the heir passed by at this same moment. But back then, he didn't look at me at all. He just walked away. This time, the heir wiped the blood from my hand with a silk handkerchief. "Don't sell her. Send her to me." My sister's eyes widened in disbelief. She squeezed in front of the heir. "Heir, did you make a mistake? My sister is so vulgar. I'm the one with integrity." The heir just gave her a cold glance. He flicked his sleeve and turned to leave. I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Looks like I gambled right this time. In my previous life, I saw two maids fighting. The heir watched coldly. After a while, he picked the one who fought back to serve at his side. It seemed the heir liked fierce people. So today I beat up my sister in front of everyone. First to vent my anger, second to attract the heir's attention. So my sister still got assigned to the study. But I became the heir's personal maid. But before I could go trouble him, he came looking for me first. According to the house rules, I'm a first-class maid. My sister is a second-class maid. My monthly pay is higher than hers. But after she entered the house, she wore silk every day, never repeating a single outfit. She looked almost like a master. All the maids envied her. She stood tall and straight, with her chin lifted. In life, no matter what kind of situation, you should always be glamorous. Meanwhile, when the manager was checking inventory, he found a lot of Schwan paper, Wolf hair brushes, and other items missing from the study. Every maid's room was searched. But none of the missing scholar's tools were found. Suddenly, someone pointed at my sister. Isn't Killy working in the study? She dresses so well every day. My sister's expression changed slightly. Then she sneered and said, I bought all that with my own savings. Besides, I have a natural sense of integrity. How could I stoop to stealing? Some maids started whispering. Kiran is honorable. She wouldn't steal from the house and sell it. Must have bought them with hoof money. But where would she get hoof money? We were all penniless when we joined the house. Our mother's belongings barely bought her that silk skirt. But I have no proof, so I can't report her. Who would have known that one morning? I was suddenly dragged to the manager's office. Nanny scolded me angrily. What trouble have you caused now? What is Nanny talking about? A group of maids surrounded me, pointing and gossiping about me. That day when she bullied Killy, I knew she wasn't a good person. But who knew she'd be this bold? She actually dared to steal from the prince's mansion. Fortunately, Killy is upright. She righteously reported it. Otherwise, she would have gotten away with it. My sister sighed. Yeluo, last night when you finished your shift, you looked so sneaky. When I got closer, I saw you were hiding an inkstone in your arms. What were you doing? Why did you have to steal? This is a serious crime. Found it. At this moment, a young servant rushed over hurriedly, shouting loudly. The inkstone was found under Miss Yi Lu's pillow. The head maid immediately had my shoulders held down. I was forced to my knees. Since it's come to this, what do you have to say for yourself? Before I could speak, my sister also knelt and quickly said, Nanny, my little sister did something wrong. I will never plead for her. But it's my fault for not managing her well. Please punish me too. The head maid quickly helped her up. You're being rewarded for reporting this. I should be giving you a reward, not punishment. How could I punish you? When she looked back at me, her eyebrows were furrowed sharply. After we report to the heir, you'll be flogged 50 times. Then thrown out to be sold. I didn't steal this inkstone. I'm only asking if it was found under your pillow. Yes, Nanny wouldn't let me say another word. She just had them drag me to see the heir. My sister insisted on following. Today she was dressed extravagantly, with an even purer, more refined aura. Suddenly, I didn't want to say anything. If they're set on making a scene, then I'll play along. After all, I really want to see their faces when they learn the truth. The heir was reading. When he saw us all coming together, he frowned slightly. Yuan Yeluo, what did you do? The head maid hurried forward, explained everything to the heir, and didn't forget to praise my sister at the end. Thankfully, Kitty is so righteous, and reported it. My sister took a step forward, smoothing the loose hair by her ear, and calmly said, I would never be partial. Please punish my sister severely, as a warning to the others. The heir didn't look at her. His gaze sharpened. Yiluo, you didn't explain yourself? They're convinced I stole, and won't let me explain. The heir closed his book. What did I say when I gave you this Duan inkstone? Heir said, if you hit someone's head into the wall, that's too crude. Next time, just throw the inkstone. My sister was stunned for a moment, as if she understood something. She looked at me, face pale. The heir smiled. Then now you can use this Duan inkstone. I snatched the inkstone from the servant's hand and smashed it hard on my sister's forehead. My sister screamed. Blood gushed out from her forehead. The head maid finally realized what had happened and hurriedly stammered. Oh, so the inkstone was a gift from the heir to Yi Luo. It was my mistake. I wronged Yi Luo. She apologized to me, then twisted my sister's arm, the kindness gone from earlier. It's all your fault for stirring up trouble, you meddling maid. That's what made me misunderstand Yi Luo. The young lord looked at the nanny with indifference. As the manager, you were biased and only listened to one side. Even the people in my room were falsely accused by you. I don't think you need to be the manager anymore. The nanny and my sister were dragged away together. Before leaving, my sister glared at me fiercely. Her eyes were full of resentment and hatred toward me. I picked up that inkstone. Unfortunately, the once intact inkstone now had a small crack. Just as my sister was injured over there, I ran into an old acquaintance, Uncle Zhang, over here. I met him on a small path nearby after changing locations. His shirt was messy, and he was pulling up his pants as he walked. Alarm bells were blaring in my mind. As soon as he walked farther away, I hurried deeper down the path. Sure enough, I saw a little maid lying on the ground. Her long hair was a mess. Her clothes had been pushed up to her chest. Her body was covered with blotchy red marks. When she saw someone approaching, the little maid didn't move. She just stared blankly up at the pitch-black night sky, lost in thought. I knew exactly what she had gone through. I'd been through the same thing in my past life. Suddenly, she scrambled to her feet. Gritting her teeth, she started to run forward. Up ahead was a lake. I reached out and grabbed her. What are you trying to do? The little maid's voice was hoarse. I can't go on living. Just because that old bastard bullied you, you're thinking about ending your life. I know a woman's virtue isn't determined by what's beneath her skirts. But this isn't the first time. The little maid closed her eyes, her face full of bitterness. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She always drags me into the grove. Even if I come, Yuexin still won't let me go. There's no hope at all in days like this. I really can't go on anymore. Suddenly, I was filled with guilt. I should have realized sooner. People like Zhang Shu, even if it wasn't me, he would still hurt other girls. If only I'd confronted him earlier, no more girls would have suffered. It's my fault. I put my hand on her shoulder and wiped her tears away. I'll help you get rid of him. The little maid stared at me in a daze. Oh, really? The next night, the little maid arranged to meet Zhang Shu in the woods by the side path of the west courtyard. Zhang Shu walked over, rubbing his hands together, and said with a sinister smile, "Why so mysterious tonight? You asked me to come here. What kind of surprise do you have for me?" When he saw my face clearly, he was slightly stunned. "Who are you?" I swallowed my disgust and slightly leaned toward him. "I'm also a newly hired maid at the mansion. I have no one to rely on. I heard you're a senior servant in this house, and I want to ask for your protection." Zhang Shu was shocked. He probably had never, in all these years, had anyone come looking for him like this. I tilted my head slightly towards the moonlight. "Do you agree?" Uncle Zhang swallowed hard. Glad I cared for that maid, she actually found someone to honor me. His lust clouded his judgment, and he walked toward me. A foul stench hit me. Unpleasant memories surged in my mind. I instinctively reached out and pushed him away. This little brat sure knows how to play the hard-to-get game. He spoke as he moved. At the same time, he quickly took off his shirt. I saw a figure dressed in white appear on the path, coming this way. At this time every day, the young lord comes here for a walk. It was during a walk in my previous life. He found that Uncle Jong was assaulting me. He ordered Uncle Jong killed. So as Uncle Jong reached to tug at my clothes, I screamed for help. My voice was trembling. Uncle Jong saw me eager to come to him, but suddenly refused at the moment. He couldn't help but snap. Well, you little brat. You dare block me. Wait and see how I'll punish you. Just as he moved to lay hands on me, the dense forest suddenly lit up. The lanterns shone brightly. Shizzy showed up. I crawled over crying to Shizzy. Shizzy, help me. Shizzy frowned and pulled me up. He saw my loosened collar and understood what had happened. Uncle Jong was trembling with fear. Young lord, this maid invited me on her own accord. She wants to give herself to me. You're lying. I'm the young lord's personal maid. Why should I give myself to you? The young lord looked stern. How dare you do this in the prince's manner? Young lord, please judge clearly. Uncle Jong kneeled naked on the ground, repeatedly bowing. It truly was the maid who invited me herself. Shizzy pulled me behind him and kicked Uncle Jong hard away. If she invited you, do you have any proof? Uncle Jong was speechless. He knew I conspired with that little maid, but he'd never sell her out, so he couldn't produce evidence. But just at that moment, suddenly a soft female voice spoke. I can testify. It was my sister who invited him. I turned and looked back. My sister was slowly walking over. She said she'd seen me head right earlier and was curious, so she followed me from afar. I personally heard my sister say this was an elder of the house, and she wanted his protection. Uncle Jong grabbed onto this like a lifeline. Is it really true? He was the one who invited me. Shizzy turned and fixed his gaze on me. Is that so? I pondered. Besides my sister's testimony, there was no other witness. I wanted to keep denying, but the young lord said, Yuan Yiluo, I want the truth. A chill ran through my heart. Looks like the young lord suspects something. If Uncle Jong insisted on pulling me down and exposing the little maid, and the young lord interrogated her harshly, I might not escape being exposed myself. So I steeled myself and closed my eyes. Kneeled before the young lord. Yes, yes. I invited him here. He abused a young maid every day. I couldn't stand it anymore. I knew the young lord always came here for a walk at night. So I lured him here on purpose, hoping the young lord would deal with him. My sister sighed softly. Sister, you dared to plot like this. Young lord, it's truly outrageous. She then gave the young lord a sly look. Luckily, I witnessed it all today. Otherwise, sister could have deceived the young lord. The young lord stayed silent. Suddenly, everything fell quiet. Just at that moment, the clattering sound was especially jarring. The young lord threw a dagger in front of me. Yuan Yiluo, this is the first time you've used me. I picked up the dagger. Looked at the young lord. We usually get along pretty well. He wouldn't kill me over something like this, right? My sister's forehead was still wrapped in gauze. Under the moonlight, her expression was gloomy. Sister, using such dirty tricks to frame others, is truly disgraceful. Since the young lord wants to kill you, you should end yourself. But the young lord had Uncle Jong restrained. He nodded his chin at me. Kill him, my sister was stunned. The young lord saw I was hesitating. He rebuked. Afraid? How could I be afraid? I remembered how he pinned me down in my previous life, humiliated me, and played with me in countless ways. I gripped the dagger tighter. A miserable scream echoed. It pierced the sky. The first stab castrated him instantly. The second plunged into his chest. I twisted the blade after it went in, stirring it around. He was in excruciating pain, howling non-stop, but I still wasn't satisfied. For myself and that poor 14-year-old maid, I continued stabbing him over and over, until he finally stopped breathing. When I raised my hand again, I found my face covered in blood. My sister gasped sharply. Her look at me was as if she saw a demon from hell. But Shizzy suddenly laughed and clapped. His gaze carried some emotion I couldn't quite describe. Where does this old man work? At the changing room. Shizzy glanced at my pale-faced sister. You actually testified for him. You like him so much. Then go to the river to wash clothes with him. My sister was no longer a second-class maid serving in the study. She was now, just like I was in my previous life, reduced to a rough servant maid, washing piles of laundry every day. I went to the changing room to see him. His hands were soaking in water. Back when he lived at home, he prided himself on his integrity. Never did chores. All the trivial tasks fell to me and mother, so his hands never developed any calluses. They were soft and smooth. Now, only a few days later, his hands were swollen. The matron struck his hands fiercely with a bamboo stick. Hurry up and wash. There's another basket later. The pain made him instantly pull back.
He frowned. My hands are for holding a pen, not for washing.
Yet you're at the changing room, still thinking of writing. Let me straighten you out. The matron beat him even harder. I glanced at him as I walked by. My sister noticed me. Her eyes lit up, and she pointed at me. This is my real sister. She's a trusted maid who can speak up for the young lord. I imitated how my sister acted in my previous life, and said calmly, Sister, people should stand on their own. You have to earn your future yourself. Don't count on your sister to save you. The matron laughed aloud, then whipped him several more times. Did you hear that? Even if your sister's trusted, it has nothing to do with you. Now I'll wash quickly. When I returned to my room, my sister's sobbing still echoed in my ears, so much that I was a little distracted. I didn't notice the young lord's door was tightly closed. I pushed it open to deliver his cleaned clothes. Whenever the young lord's door is closed, unless he allows it, no one else is permitted to enter. I entered his inner chamber, only then realized it. Just as I was about to leave, I found the dark room's door open. Shizzy was inside. He held a carving knife. He looked up at me when he heard the sound. There was a wooden rack opposite him. A man was tied to the rack. Shizzy was carving on the man's body. I turned to leave, but Shizzy beckoned me over. Yuan Yiluo, come here. I forced myself to go along. I saw that the man in front of him was barely breathing. His body was covered in shocking wounds. The young lord was dressed in black at that moment, completely different from his usual gentle appearance. This bastard looks scary, doesn't he? The young lord looked serious. I burned him with boiling water and torched him with flames. Yet he kept clinging to life. I'm learning how to carve now. He turned to me and showed a faint smile. Yuan Yiluo, are you scared yet? I shook my head but bravely asked, what did he do to deserve this? Why treat him like this? Back then, cholera broke out. My birth mother was left destitute. He found her and let animals violate her one after another, humiliating her to death. I killed all those people. But him, I always felt death was too easy for him. The young lord put down the carving knife and rested his hand on my shoulder. Are you shocked and scared? The young lord, so refined on the surface, is dark and cruel underneath. Actually, I wasn't shocked. I've long noticed Shizzy's strange behavior. Now it just confirms my suspicions. As for being scared, not really. I smiled, took the carving knife from Shizzy, and carefully started carving on the man's body. Shizzy's eyes lit up. A brand was marked right between his brows. I don't find you scary at all. Villains like that use their innate strength to bully women. They deserve to be hacked into 1,000 pieces. In my heart, you are still as bright as the clear moon. I took out a handkerchief and wiped the blood from the heir's wrist. Don't let the blood of such people dirty you. The heir watched my movements. Really? I nodded obediently. Suddenly, the heir grabbed my wrist, and in 2 steps, he pinned me against the wall. His thumb pressed heavily against my cheek. Yuan Yiluo, why do I feel like you're flattering me? I looked him straight in the eyes. You are my master. As your servant, isn't it only natural to make my master happy? Besides, I had gone to great lengths to stay by his side, because I had another plan in mind. If I wanted to achieve my goal, I needed his help. The heir stared at me for a long time, before finally letting me go. You're honest, at least. From then on, the heir no longer hid anything from me. He allowed me to enter and leave his bedroom freely, and even shared with me the torture devices he used when he felt like tormenting people. Before long, a rumor spread like wildfire through the prince's mansion. It was said that the cousin had taken a liking to a maid in the laundry room, and wanted to take her as his concubine. I didn't expect my sister's luck to be so good. After all that, she still managed to latch onto the cousin. I heard that when the cousin passed by the laundry room that day, my sister was the only one left washing clothes. Her eyes were red, and tears were falling straight into the wooden basin, creating ripple after ripple. The cousin felt immense pity seeing this. The cousin asked her, "Why are you here all alone?" My sister didn't stop her work. The others have all gone off duty. They left all the dirty clothes for me to wash. In a lowly place like the laundry room, people tend to gang up on others. If you just plead with them and try to fit in, you wouldn't have to suffer like this. But my sister lifted her chin high. Her tone was firm. Even if I've fallen to the laundry room, I still have my pride. I will never associate with them. Tears shimmered in her eyes, but the words she spoke were full of integrity, making the cousin's eyes go wide. The cousin took her away immediately and severely reprimanded the servants in the laundry room. When I went to the laundry room, a young maid mentioned this matter. She curled her lip, feeling somewhat wronged. When did we ever bully her? She was clearly just slow herself. Others would wash 5 baskets of clothes, while she only finished 1. That's why she couldn't leave on time. In the end, we were scolded for no reason, and even had our monthly pay docked. I was just about to comfort her, when someone ran over to find me in a hurry. "Sister Yiluo, hurry back. The cousin has come to take you." I was confused. Why would the cousin suddenly want me for no reason? Could it be my sister's doing? As it happened during this time, the heir had followed the emperor to Milan for the hunt, and was not in the mansion. When I returned, the cousin and my sister had arrived. Mother Chang from the heir's courtyard was also there. The cousin glanced at me casually. "So you are Killy's sister." Killy is kind-hearted. Even though she's now a mistress, she loses sleep every night. When I asked her about it, I found out she was worried about you. She was afraid you were being mistreated out here, and begged me to bring you to her side. I immediately thanked the cousin, but I'm doing quite well under the heir. Mother Chang also spoke up for me. Yiluo is the heir's personal maid. Even if she were to leave, it would have to wait until the heir returns. My sister grabbed the cousin's hand. Her delicate brows were tightly knit. She truly put on the act of a good sister worrying about her sibling. "Brother Shen, she is my only biological sister. If she's not by my side, I really can't be at peace." She pleaded in a low voice. "You know, I was born with a proud spirit, and never bow my head. But now, for this one thing, I beg you to help." Seeing his beloved lower herself like this, the cousin felt immense pity. He quickly took her hand. "Don't worry," he said to the nanny. "I'm taking this one with me. When my cousin returns, I will explain it to him personally. She's just a maid. My cousin will surely give me this much face." The nanny couldn't stop them, and I couldn't refuse. And so I was reassigned to the cousin's courtyard. The cousin handed me over to my sister and told me to follow her orders. As soon as he left, my sister's expression changed. "Sister, so what if you schemed to get close to the heir? With just a few words, didn't I get you transferred here anyway?" She looked at her own fingers, which were still swollen from the laundry work a few days ago. "Now I am the mistress, and you are the servant. Don't even think about using my influence. Doing your work properly is all that matters." My sister assigned all the hardest and most tiring jobs to me. Cleaning tiles, weeding gardens, scrubbing buckets, I worked from dawn to dusk. At night, I even had to fetch water while my sister served the cousin. At first, I still fantasized that the heir would ask for me back. But more than 10 days passed, and I didn't see the heir at all. I suppose I am just a maid. If I'm given away, I'm given away. The heir wouldn't care that much. Realizing I couldn't count on the heir, I began to seek another way out for myself. The candlelight magnified the shadows of my sister and the cousin's intimacy, casting them onto the windowsill. The cousin called for water again. The nanny urged me to deliver it. I couldn't help but remember that I had dealt with the cousin in both my past and present lives. I knew all too well what kind of women he liked. Why should I obediently let my sister manipulate me? Since he could do it, why couldn't I? Although this wasn't the path I originally wanted to take, it seemed to be the best choice right now. I watched for a long time, and finally caught an opportunity. When the cousin came to find my sister, she was napping. He didn't want to disturb her. As he was about to leave, he saw me in the garden. My head was bowed low, my figure looked frail, and blood was trickling from my index finger. I looked exceptionally weak and pitiful. Sure enough, the cousin stopped in front of me. What's happened here? I looked up, tears brimming in my eyes. I accidentally cut my hand while weeding just now. I'm so useless. I've made a fool of myself in front of you, young master. My eyes were red, but a faint smile played on my lips. Young master, look at these peonies. Aren't they beautiful? I planted them all myself. The cousin raised an eyebrow. Oh, do you like peonies? I shook my head repeatedly. My sister likes peonies, so she had me plant them. But I don't like them. As I spoke, I tilted my head slightly and curled the corners of my mouth. I had practiced this countless times in front of the water, knowing that this angle was the most beautiful. Then what do you like? The cousin's interest was piqued. Plum blossoms fall, crushed into dust. Only their fragrance remains unchanged. I look up at the sky in the four corners. I admire the integrity of plum blossoms. While speaking, a bracelet on my wrist dropped to the ground. I hurriedly bent down to pick it up. But today my clothes weren't properly fastened. When I bent over, my figure was momentarily exposed. The young master also squatted down to help me look for the bracelet. While searching, he touched my hand.
He didn't let go.
In fact, he just left his hand there.
He lazily said, Nilo.
You and your sister are very alike. But there's a bit of difference. You are more charming than her. He squeezed my hand hard. Do you want to be my concubine? Before he could finish, the prince suddenly entered the courtyard with a cold expression. Cousin, you're bold indeed. Trying to take away my personal maid. And you even want her as your concubine. The young master quickly stood up. It seemed he wanted to explain his reason for wanting me to the prince. But the prince didn't let him speak at all. He motioned to me with a finger. Hurry back. Following the young master is the worst choice. If I had a choice, naturally I'd rather follow the prince. The young master tried to stop me. The prince shot him a cold glare. A gust of wind swept across. Don't even think about it. This time he had no choice but to stay silent. He let me leave. I followed the prince back to his bedroom. We had just entered the room. He quickly closed the door. He braced both hands against the door. He stared at me, gritting his teeth. Yeluo, you're incredibly bold. You actually went and seduced another man. I held out my left hand to Shizzy. Look, it's bleeding. Shizzy snorted coldly. Don't try to play the victim in front of me. I don't buy it. I'm not playing the victim. I'm just telling the truth. I cut this myself. Life was hard for me serving by my sister's side. I showed her my hands, cracked from the chores. But I just couldn't accept living like this. So I thought of finding another way out. The young lord glanced at me. With emotions churning, so you decided to seduce him. What else could I do? Couldn't you have waited for me? I did wait. At first, I thought the young lord would take me back. But after waiting for a long time, he still never came for me. I lowered my gaze, staring at my own shoes. If I'd never waited, I wouldn't have dragged things out till today. The emperor was in high spirits about this kind of thing, so he stayed a few extra days. I only just got home today. Once I found out you'd been taken away, I didn't even have time to change before I went to get you back. All you do is talk about missing me, but you let others touch your hands. Suddenly, Shizzy bit down hard on my shoulder. I cried out in pain and something was shoved into my hand. It was a concealed weapon with a hidden dart. Shizzy tilted her head up at me, licking the blood at the corner of her lips. A special gift I prepared just for you. The blade is sharp, enough to kill someone. I took the secret weapon. Suddenly, an idea occurred to me. The young lord took me away today, which would surely make cousin feel resentful. Am I supposed to be afraid of him? The young lord gave a soft scoff. That's not what I meant. But after all, you and cousin are brothers. Don't let me come between you. I tested the waters. How about you pick some pretty girls and send them to cousin's quarters? That way he'll know how you feel. The young lord was silent a while, then lazily let out 2 words, share affection. Yes, I just want someone to take away my sister's favor. She's a concubine, and the only thing she relies on right now is cousin's affection. But if cousin can be interested in me in the garden today, he can definitely fall for someone else. With more women by his side, the love he gives her will be spread thin. And then she'd lose everything she was depending on. Shizzy lifted my Chinyuan Yuluo. This is the second time you've used me, and you still say you love plum blossoms, yet I can't see a trace of purity in you. I burst out laughing. That was just what cousin once said. How could you believe that, your lordship? I liked trumpet creeper flowers when I was a child, climbing high walls, growing wild, blossoming passionately. Trumpet creeper. The young lord pondered my words for a moment, and finally let me go. Well, that does suit you. All right, as you wish. Pick some pretty girls for cousin. After saying so, he reminded me. Ask them first if they're willing. Only send the willing ones. I picked 4 smart girls, based on cousin's taste, and carefully told them all about cousin's likes and dislikes. I waited until my sister's afternoon nap to send them over. When cousin heard why I'd come, he refused without hesitation. Cousin, what's the meaning of this? Do you think I'd just take anyone? He responded with perfect righteousness. I already have Killy. Why would I look at other women? But once he actually saw their faces, he pressed his lips together. Still, since it's cousin's kind offer, I shouldn't reject it. Fine, let them stay. They're the ones I chose myself. All good-looking and charming, with plenty of tricks and no shame. I don't believe they can't win his heart. Sure enough, cousin was dazzled by them. At first, he still cared about my sister's feelings, taking time every day to see her. But with 4 more girls waiting, even if he managed his time, he had to cut back on the time with her. After my sister found out he was seeing other women, she was fuming. Shenlang, didn't you say you only loved me? So what is this now? He once made grand promises to my sister, and felt guilty towards her. He often gave in to her, but those other girls would play with him, dancing for him in sheer clothes. My sister was far too proud, and wouldn't do the things he liked. After a while, he became less and less patient with her, and couldn't help but go find those other girls. The first time my sister came looking for him, he went back and sweet-talked her. But the next few times, he made excuses to send her away, then coaxed her later on. And eventually, even his guilt was completely gone. He even pointed at her and coldly snapped, "Who are you to control me? You're a concubine, so are they. You're not much more noble than they are. Why do I have to always visit you?" Now everyone in the mansion says she's lost favor, and cousin doesn't go to her courtyard anymore. But even so, she still wasn't at her wit's end, because she was found to be pregnant. It was cousin's first child, which he valued greatly. Overnight, my sister was in favor again, even more than before. But now I don't have time for all that. I have something more important to do. Everything I've done to get close to the young lord was for that very reason. The young lord said he was going out with a friend for an outing. Nilo, I'm going out tomorrow. Don't go wandering off. He pointed at the gold bracelet he gave me. If I find out you went to cousin's place again, I'll have a gold anklet made, and lock your feet with it, so you can't leave my side again. I gently tugged at his sleeve. If you're really worried, why not take me with you? He clearly had no such plan. He never took women along when he went out. I looked up at him. Don't you want me by your side? Suddenly, the young lord smiled, with a playful look. Yuan Yiluo, have you become attached to me? I was about to deny it, but seeing the expectation in his eyes, the words died on my lips, and I changed my answer to yes. The young lord seemed pleased with that, and agreed. All right, I'll take you out to see the world. I lowered my lashes, afraid I couldn't hide my excitement. The young lord went for an outing with a refined gentleman, and told me to call him Gongzi, but I knew he was the emperor in a past life. When the emperor and the young lord used to go on outings, he once suffered a sudden heart attack without any medicine on hand. In the wild with no doctor around, the emperor died suddenly, at just 23. Ever since I was reborn, I kept this in mind. With the money I got from the young lord, I bought medicine for heart attacks, and carried it with me at all times. I hoped saving the emperor would reward me with everything I wanted. Just as expected, halfway up the mountain, they stopped at a waterfall, marveling at the view. Suddenly, the emperor clutched his chest, collapsed to the ground, his face ghastly pale. The eunuchs behind us cried out in alarm. The emperor's having a heart attack! The young lord laid him flat on the ground, and urgently asked for the medicine. The eunuchs looked at each other. We didn't bring it. The young lord's face darkened. All he could do was tilt the emperor's head, and try to help him breathe easier. At that moment, I brought out the medicine I'd been carrying. I have medicine for heart attacks. The young lord eyed me suspiciously, but took it anyway. The eunuchs quickly stopped him. You can't just give the emperor anything. So you'd rather watch him die? The young lord made a snap decision, and without asking where it came from, gave the emperor the pill. It was expensive medicine, and effective too. Soon the emperor's breathing eased, and his color started to return. After he recovered, the eunuchs explained everything to the emperor. The emperor beckoned me forward. Why did you have heart medicine with you? I was born with a weak heart, so I always keep medicine on me, just in case. The young lord suddenly looked up at me, his eyes full of suspicion. Looks like heaven means for me to live. A hint of relief crossed the emperor's face. You saved me. What reward do you want? I immediately prostrated myself. After all, it was just a pill. I shouldn't expect to be rewarded. But I have one request to make. Go ahead, speak freely. Your Majesty, could you allow me to be freed from slavery? To become a commoner again. During my days at the prince's residence, I've saved up all my wages. The heir was generous and gave me many rewards. I've calculated it all out. With this money, I could open a wonton stand. I could easily support myself. The emperor laughed and said, Since you saved me, before you even ask, I will free you from servitude. Don't you have any other requests? Like, would you want to enter the palace and serve as my companion? As soon as the emperor finished speaking, the heir's expression immediately changed. He wanted to speak, but the emperor raised his hand to stop him. Entering the palace is just jumping into a different deep pit. I shook my head. I am not worthy of such blessings, nor dare I serve by your Majesty's side. The emperor then quietly said to the heir, What are you afraid of? I wouldn't take away what belongs to someone else. I was just probing you. Then he turned to me again. Do you wish to marry the heir? If I make the decision, you would become the heir's wife. I looked at the heir. He was looking at me as well. A mix of emotions crossed his face, and finally turned into hope. What was he hoping for? That I would accept or refuse? I didn't know what the heir was thinking, nor did I care. I just followed my heart. The heir is noble, and I am not worthy of him. All I want is simply to become a free citizen. After a moment of silence, the emperor gave the heir a meaningful look. The heir's face was ashen. His hand, hidden in his sleeve, clenched into a tight fist, then slowly relaxed. He turned his head away and didn't look at me again. The emperor seemed quite amused. Who would have thought Kui Zun would ever get rejected? You have no idea. There are enough women wanting to marry him to line up from the east gate of the city to the west. But seeing the heir's unpleasant expression, the emperor finally put away his smile and said solemnly, "It's rare to see such character in you. Would I only free my benefactor from slavery? From this day on, you are the lady of Duan County. You have complete freedom in marriage." At most, I only hoped to get some money from the emperor, never imagined ever being granted a noble title. I was overjoyed and bowed deeply to express my gratitude. But the heir looked even worse. On the carriage ride back to the manor, he didn't say a word. Until we were almost home, he said coldly, "You're a liar. I've known you for so long, and you've never been one for scheming. You went today, just for the emperor, to repay the favor of saving his life, and not at all to stay by my side. Right? My goal was already achieved, so there was no need to hide it anymore. Yes, I once dreamed this would happen, so I decided to save the emperor. But the heir simply didn't care. How I knew about it beforehand." He gripped the hem of his robe tightly. "Yuan Yiluo, this is the third time you've used me. Have I not treated you well? Are you heartless?" "How could I be heartless?" The emperor ran into trouble while out with the heir, so of course the heir would be implicated. By doing this, I was helping the heir too. The heir was furious, turned away and ignored me. I thought about trying to appease him, but he just walked away. I'd earned merit by saving the emperor, and word of being granted the title of county lady spread like wildfire. When my sister heard about it, she accidentally knocked over her teacup. "Yuan Yiluo, how does she deserve that?" She was indignant. She's always been proud and unyielding, but became only a concubine, while I, who was always her backdrop, suddenly became a county lady. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Now she was pregnant, and her cousin treated her very well, so she started to have thoughts she shouldn't have. She pointed to the child in her belly, eyes brimming with tears. "Shen Lang, you said you loved me. I'm carrying your child, so how could you let me be a concubine? Even my younger sister can be a county lady. I can't just be a concubine. Shen Lang, you must marry me and make me your legitimate wife." Even though cousin has always acted recklessly, he never thought about marrying a maid as his wife, no matter what. But my sister stroked her belly and angrily said, "If you won't agree, then I won't have this child." Cousin thought she was just making a scene, so he agreed right away. Before I left the prince's residence, I specially went to see my sister. She had just finished a calming soup, and when she saw me come in, her expression shifted slightly. But she still held her head high, with her chin raised. "Are you here to show off, little sister? Then perhaps you've come to the wrong person. Because in a few days I'll be married to Shen Lang. Shen Lang said he'll make me a titled lady. You're a county lady. I'll have a rank too. In front of me, you won't be that much nobler." I found it a bit amusing. My sister is still dreaming big, huh? Previously, the princess arranged a match for cousin, picking out Lord Jiu's eldest daughter, and both families already exchanged birth dates. They'll be married soon. Don't you know about this? My sister was stunned, then started to laugh. "You're trying to fool me with this? Is there any point?" I didn't answer her, just stared at her steadily. After a long while, she finally stopped laughing. "Are you telling the truth? Is it real? You can check for yourself." My sister's face changed. "Impossible. Shen Lang promised to marry me." "That was just to placate you." "You actually believed it." I knew exactly what mattered most to her, so I hit her sore spot without mercy. "Why would cousin choose you, a maid, over a high-status noblewoman? And what about you?" he asked in return. "You're a maid too, so how come you got lucky?" I did want to climb higher socially, but I never planned to perch myself up there forever. It's not a stable place at all. I need to create my own foundation. After a moment of silence, my sister gritted her teeth and sneered, "Yuan Yiluo, you just got lucky. Don't preach at me. I'm pregnant with Shen Lang's only child now. The doctor even said it's a boy. My future is bright. But all you have is an empty title. What do you have to be proud of?" I calmly stood and left. Well, let's see how bright your future turns out, sister. Her personal maid quietly advised, Ma'am, she's the county lady personally granted her title by the emperor. If you could get her help, it would be easy for you to be promoted to his favored concubine. After all, she's your sister. Why not be nice to the county lady? Ask her for help. My sister heard this and slapped the table angrily. What nonsense are you spouting? I have my pride. How could I ever stoop so low to beg her? I left without looking back. She will beg me one day, just not yet. Before I left the prince's residence, the heir finally came to see me. Yuan Yuluo, you refuse to marry me. Is it because you think the real me is too sinister? I found it amusing. Though I often flatter the heir, I have also told him the truth. For example, I really don't find him scary at all. On the contrary, I think he's a very good person. The heir gave a sigh of relief, but then asked, Then why won't you marry me? How should I put this? I thought for a moment and said, Right now I have no intention of getting married. I just want the freedom to do what I want. The heir seemed thoughtful, but didn't say much more. Soon news came that cousin was getting married. After all, the concubine was pregnant in advance, and the Shen family was eager to give him a wife to cover it up. The bride cousin married was Lord Jiyu's daughter. I heard my sister cause several scenes, but it was all useless. On the night of cousin's wedding, my sister claimed her pregnancy was making her ill, and called him to her room. But Lady Jiyu wasn't easily intimidated either. Seeing a concubine acting so defiantly, she turned on her authority as head wife and made things difficult for her. At that moment, the maid I once gave to cousin also revealed she was pregnant. Cousin was overjoyed, but my sister grew anxious. The child in her belly was neither the legal heir nor his only child, so it wouldn't be considered so precious. But in the end, the child wasn't even born. She prided herself on her backbone and wouldn't resign herself to being beneath others. She would often talk back to Lady Jiyu, so Lady Jiyu punished her by making her kneel under the scorching sun for an hour. She was fine at first while kneeling. She went back that night, but suddenly had a miscarriage. My sister miscarried in her own room, so it was hard to blame Lady Jiyu. Besides, Lady Jiyu was a newlywed from a prestigious family, while my sister was just a lowly concubine. The Shen family would never trouble Lady Jiyu for her sake. After losing the child, my sister's face was bathed in tears. She gained the young master's pity, but she sobbed every single day. As time went on, the young master grew bored with her and stopped visiting her room. My sister lost her favor. With her low status and being disliked by the mistress of the house, life in the prince's mansion became difficult. After a while, my sister finally figured things out. So she made a decision to set aside her pride, act humble and submissive, and actively seek the young master's favor. She became like the people she once despised most, performing dances and playing the guqin for him, dressing in sheer silk to please him, and even joining other concubines in bed for his amusement. She also took the initiative to apologize to Lady Jiyu, repenting her mistakes with tearful eyes, begging for Lady Jiyu's protection. Lady Jiyu wasn't cold-hearted. Seeing that my sister had stopped causing trouble, she no longer made things difficult for her. My sister's life began to improve again.
But
How could I allow such a thing to happen? I sent a letter to Lady Jiyu. Back then, my sister stole the scholar's 4 jewels and framed me for it. After I left the mansion, I have been looking for a witness to this. After some time, I finally found him, the person who bought the brushes and ink from her. I detailed the matter in the letter and sent the witness to the Shen family. I also told Lady Jiyu to be absolutely sure to stay on guard against my sister. After Lady Jiyu received the letter, she questioned the witness thoroughly and then informed the young master. At first, the young master didn't believe it. When he took my sister as a concubine, it was because he admired her pride and noble character. Who knew her hands were so dirty? At first, my sister argued desperately, but with both the witness and physical evidence present, she had no way to deny it. So my sister held her head high and spoke of money. That wealth is just a worldly possession. And what was wrong with using it to keep up appearances? The young master looked at her in shock and total disappointment.
He finally realized
That his affection had been a mistake from the start. My sister's newfound favor vanished again. Even the servants in the mansion looked down on her. Because of this, she held a grudge against Lady Jiyu and actually tried to poison her, using a drug that would make Lady Jiyu infertile for life. Fortunately, Lady Jiyu was cautious. Seeing the color of the tonic was wrong, she called a physician to check. Upon investigation, it was found to be my sister's doing. Attempting to harm the mistress is a grave crime. The young master was already disheartened by my sister. He only gave her a disgusted look and left everything for Lady Jiyu to decide. Lady Jiyu ordered her to be beaten to death. At the final moment, my sister finally remembered me, her younger sister. She screamed, "My sister is a county lady. You can't kill me like this." She looked down on me so much. Yet at the moment of life and death, she tried to use my influence. Lady Jiyu hesitated for a moment, and actually, out of respect for me, spared her life. My sister was thrown out of the mansion after 50 strokes of the rod. She was dizzy and disoriented, with difficulty moving. She slipped and fell into a pond while trying to stand up. When she was pulled out, my sister was already on her last breath. She grabbed her rescuer's collar and said, "My biological sister is County Lady Duanyang. Tell her about my situation. She will come to save me, and she will even give you a reward." So someone actually came to bring me the news. "County Lady, your sister is seriously injured and has fallen into the water. She is begging you to go and save her now." My sister was soaking wet, her lower body a bloody mess, lying miserably on the ground. It was a shocking sight even from a distance. "You're here." She struggled to reach out and grab my hem. My fine silk fabric was instantly stained with blood. I stepped back in disgust. "Sister, don't dirty my clothes." She knew I was her only lifeline now, so she had to be obedient. She timidly withdrew her hand. "Anai Luo, you quickly send me for treatment." I crossed my arms. "Beg me." She was stunned for a moment, but finally bit her lip and said firmly, "I beg you to take me to the clinic." I laughed. "So a person with such integrity like you can also beg so miserably." Her situation was critical, so she didn't care about my ridicule. "Take me to the doctor quickly." "You don't think I came here actually intending to get you medical help, do you?" I laughed softly, laughing until tears came to my eyes. In the blur, I seemed to see scenes from my past life. I was also looking up at her like this, begging her to call a doctor for me. While I was gravely ill, what did she do? Oh, she told me to crawl to the clinic myself. Today I mimicked her tone and said coldly, "You must be a person of integrity. You shouldn't beg others easily. Even if you have to crawl to the clinic yourself." My sister's face was full of disbelief. "What does this have to do with integrity? I am your own sister. Are you going to watch me die?" So she also knew this had nothing to do with integrity. She also knew that without medical help, she would die. It's just that when the whip doesn't hit your own body, you don't know the pain. By now, a crowd had gathered. I said loudly, "This sister of mine has no morals. She stole from the mansion when she was a maid, and was filled with jealousy after becoming a concubine. She even tried to poison the mistress, attempting to make her infertile for life. The mistress was kind-hearted, and didn't have her beaten to death. But such an unrighteous person, even if she is my sister, I will not help her." After I spoke, the onlookers started pointing at her. If I had known she was that kind of person, I would have let her drown just now. Looking so virtuous, yet so malicious. What a disgrace. Someone spat at her. Someone threw rotten eggs at her. My sister's face turned white and red. For someone who cared most about integrity to be insulted like this, she was almost dying of shame and anger. I turned and left. The crowd automatically made a path for me. They cursed my sister, but when they spoke of me, they said County Lady Duanyang is selfless and truly has high principles. Coming from the same womb, How can they be so different? I was in a great mood when I went back. I went into the most famous music hall, but I didn't expect that I would see my sister again. The music hall was crowded, and a dancer was performing gracefully. Her dance was beautiful and sharp, with an unyielding spirit in her every gesture. When the dance ended, there was thunderous applause. Prince Zhao even came forward, saying he would take her back to his mansion. But just then, a clear female voice rang out. My concubine-born sister has been vulgar since childhood. How could she possibly dance well? As soon as she finished speaking, the woman, dressed in a sheer silk dress, started to dance gracefully. Isn't that the legitimate daughter of the Xing family? I heard she despised dancers who use their looks. Since joining the academy, she only played the zither and never danced. Is this her first time dancing? As expected of a master's student, it's truly beautiful. Her clothes were very thin. Under the light and shadows, one could faintly see the elegant curves of her body. After the dance, she frowned at the previous dancer. Did you see that, younger sister? Your skill is lacking. You missed 2 beats. I danced today, not to steal your spotlight, but to prevent you from deceiving the world into thinking a good dance is merely this. Prince Zhao praised her graceful movements and said she was brave enough to speak the truth, deciding to take her back to the mansion instead. I watched as this woman became the center of attention, while the previous dancer was ignored by everyone. I walked over to the dancer and gave her the hidden weapon the heir had given me. What is the meaning of this? A gift. Perhaps you'll find it useful in the future. Her expression was too similar to my sister's from the past. I looked at her, and it was like seeing my former self. My sister looked down on me, while using me to highlight her own brilliance, climbing up by using me as a ladder. Perhaps because I've been caught in the rain, I want to hold an umbrella for someone else. I hope her future path will be a little easier to walk. Just left the Yu mansion. I heard people shouting in the street. They said the concubine expelled from the Shen family died. My sister passed away. She died on the way to the medical clinic. After becoming the county chief, I set up a charity hall to help the poor. I always remember the kindness someone showed my mother with a meal. The food in the courtyard was dumped by my sister. I also opened an embroidery workshop, hired a group of female workers. Persimmon came to find me again. He asked me about Yuan Yiluo. What if marriage wouldn't tie down your freedom? I didn't answer, because I don't think that premise holds true yet. Persimmon didn't ask further. He wants to open a dining hall with me and join my embroidery workshop. I agreed. After all, Persimmon has a lot of money. Why not take advantage? The dining hall thrived. The embroidery workshop also grew bigger. In spring, Persimmon sowed trumpet vine seeds at the foot of the dining hall wall. He scattered trumpet vine seeds. As soon as the vines rooted in the soil, they climbed along the wall, reached the edge of the wall. In summer, the fiery orange trumpet vines blossomed one after another, covering the entire wall, bright as rosy clouds. Shies pulled me to see Yuan Yiluo. Now I really like trumpet vines too, because you all truly bring good fortune. Watching the vigorous, fiery growth of trumpet vines, climbing all the way up, straight into the blue sky, my eyes suddenly filled with tears. What's wrong with being a trumpet vine? After all, life doesn't always go your way. Being simple doesn't mean lacking destiny.